Welcome to road.cc Recommends. On this month's show we have brilliant bikes, a collection of the best tyres, kit to make your bike clean and kit to make you comfortable. We've also got some crucial buying advice, so let's get right to it.
Well, first we've got these Pirelli P0 Race 4S road tyres. These impressed us with their grip in mixed conditions while still feeling pretty quick. If you want a summer tyre feel all year round, then these are among the best options out there. These clinchers features a new nylon puncture protection belt under 120 TPI casing, which in turn lives beneath the same smart Evo rubber compound you get with Pirelli's racier tyres. That means you get a summer tyre feel, you can use it the whole year.
Yeah, I have to say that the one thing that I really hate about winter riding, or I did in the past, was using winter tyres, because they are just slow and dead and heavy and they don't spin up quickly. And I've started using summer tyres in the winter and
they fall apart.
They fall apart, and you will get to, you know, one ride in the middle of December and you will have a puncture at some point. But it's nice for the rest of the time, isn't it?
So there we go, Pirelli, best of both worlds.
Yeah, might have to switch to them. Next up is another tyre that really impressed us. The VREDESTEIN AVENTURA gravel tyre, that tripped me up nearly, is a low-weight gravel tyre with minimal tread that still manages to deliver impressive grip on a range of surfaces. It's fast, smooth and quiet. This is VREDESTEIN's only gravel tyre and is available in 3 sizes. There's 2 in 700C size with widths of 38 and 44 millimeters and a 50 millimeter 650B. All 3 use the same 120 TPI carcass and triple compound technology.
Well, on those gravel rides, your bike is going to get dirty, inevitably. SQUIRT's biodegradable bike cleaner concentrate can help you clean your entire bike. It works really well, both neat as a degreaser and diluted as a general wash. At the maximum dilution ratio of 1 to 25, this will make 25 litres of bike wash, so that makes it pretty good value too. There is no one, however, that likes a clean bike as much as this guy sat right here.
That is correct, and to be honest with this, I think my technique would be to pour some into a bottle, cut off bottle with a brush, get it right into the drivetrain, neat. Spray that off, tip that stuff into your bucket with a little bit more, fill the bucket up so you've got your nice hot soapy water, and then wash the bike. And then if you're a pro mechanic, I've learnt this at the Dauphiné, you do the whole process again.
My strategy is spray, degreaser,
mate, I've seen your strategy.
and then rag.
His strategy is just to leave it dirty. So I don't think your opinion is not valid here. Right, time for book club, and this month we have Le FRIC by Alex Duff. This looks at the Tour de France from a different perspective, focusing on the company behind the famous event. It's more about the business side than the actual racing, but it's a new welcome approach.
Well, French lesson, Le FRIC in fact means the money.
That does make sense.
I went to France, so I know this kind of thing now.
This sort of thing, oh yeah. Old French racer here. Duff's approach is to look at the Tour's changing relationship with money or cash during the era of newspapers, television and the internet. This includes discussion about cycling's feudal business model formulated a century ago.
Time for the cafe now. Hey. And this is one that our videographer Andrew found whilst we were out filming a few weeks ago.
Yeah, we all like this one, don't we? The Carn Hill Cafe offers a range of tasty hot and cold food along with cakes, teas, coffees and soft drinks.
We took great pleasure in sampling all of these snacks, and we can highly recommend the various fridge cakes that they have. I don't think that I've ever eaten something so dense as the Snickers Rocky Road that I had.
We really had quite a lot of energy after one of those. So if you are in a hole on your ride, well, one of those is going to get you home.
Yeah, definitely. Whilst you're eating your cake and sipping that coffee, you'll also be entertained by the famous locks.
Oh, yes. So you were going to give us a history lesson on these,
I don't know much history about this. Is there 27?
Something like that. It's a silly number, and you can't really picture it until you go and see it. But there's also, and if you think, why didn't they go round the hill is very long.
Yes.
Yes. Good.
History lesson done.
Well, now that we've finished our history lesson of the day and I need to prise my mind away from the Snickers cake, it's time to take a look at the Bontrager GR2 Team Issue TLR gravel tyres. These are lightly treaded yet fast and light, and still they're robust enough to cope with pretty much anything you can throw at them. These are a great fit and forget tyre as long as it's, well, not too muddy.
We've got a lot of fast gravel tyres this month.
We do, and I think this is another brilliant option. These are actually good in more than just a straight line. The profile of the GR2...
Excellent.
Yeah, sometimes there's a corner. The GR2 is actually well-rounded, and with no square edges or sudden tread transitions, that means that you can lean it over knowing that nothing weird is going to happen quite
My
suddenly.
favourite.
Yeah.
The only place where we found that these were a little slow was on really steep climbs when they're really sticky, so that's not actually a hugely bad thing.
No.
The tyres come with Bontrager's inner strength casing that promises lightweight sidewall protection, and, well, it appears to work.
Next up, the NOPINZ Souplesse bib shorts, which are absolutely ideal for fast riding, whether you're out for a blast or going long. The high density pad is very supportive, providing a comfortable barrier between you and the saddle. That's regardless of terrain. They are very well made too, and at a price that looks good compared to others out there.
The fit's really good too, with the multi-panel design creating a shape that works well on the bike without causing any bunching in material when you're, hunched over the bars.
I have to say, it is the pad that's the star of the show. It's made by Elastic Interface, who make brilliant pads.
They know a thing or two,
yeah,
don't
they do. And the padding, it's definitely on the firm side, and that might not sound ideal for long hours in the saddle, but it actually really works. The padding compresses just enough to soak up the road vibrations, but you'll always stay suspended above the saddle, so there is no bunching of the material or hot spots.
But remember that if you've got little legs like you...
I do have little thighs.
NOPINZ have a tendency of making their legs really long, don't they?
Yeah, they really do come right down to my knee. Which
Aero
is the fashion.
So now we move on to the Cane Creek EESILK Plus seat post, which is brilliant for adding some bump taming ability to either your road or gravel bike.
So this Plus model bumps the travel up to 35 millimeters and drops the price by nearly 100 quid. But the thing that makes this post so good is that you don't feel any bob under pedaling forces.
In fact, this thing is so subtle in its action that it's barely noticeable, but in a good way.
Right.
And it just gently absorbs the little ripples and bumps without telegraphing its presence. It's only on the big bumps that you really feel the available travel.
So the spring rate of the seat post is controlled by the elastomer, and that can be swapped for a softer or harder version than the default one to tune it to your weight. So a rider like me who's quite light might benefit from a softer one.
The pivot design uses stainless steel axles, and they used to use hollow aluminium, so this should be pretty robust. And IGUS bushes. This post is very well engineered, and we've got no issues in believing that this post will run for years. Mainly because Dave, you've seen him before, has been using one on his mountain bike for nearly 20 years.
I mean, that's nearly as old as us.
Well, it's nearly as old as me, not you.
Mean. We best go and find a nice place to ride now. Here's our route of the month.
Since the Tour de France is in Denmark this weekend, we thought we'd pop over to Copenhagen for this month's route, suggested for us by the Copenhagen Cycling Club. Starting from the main square just outside the Royal Theatre, this route takes you on a seaside loop around the island of Amager, home of Amager Cycling Ring, one of the oldest cycling clubs in Denmark. The ride is a popular training route for cyclists of all levels, and on a day with clear skies gives you a glimpse of Sweden and the Øresund Bridge connecting the countries. It's the perfect terrain to just cruise on perfect tarmac, and you can make a stop halfway to grab a coffee and a Danish pastry at the little fishing village of TYRE. After that you'll pass Amager Beach, which on a sunny day is a great place to take a dip before you arrive back in Copenhagen.
Now, this TIFOSI ROSTRA disc fills the gap between road bikes and the gravel bike market. The perfect all-season bike that's capable of handling year-round British weather, according to TIFOSI anyway.
Yeah. TIFOSI says that the ROSTRA takes its inspiration from the ever-popular CK7. Its alloy all-season machine. It was loved by commuters, winter riders and Audaxers alike for its ability to take the tyre size and full mudguards that you really want for those disciplines. The main difference is that on the ROSTRA, the tyre clearance has increased by about 5mm.
So that means, along with the mudguard mounts, that this is going to still be the commuter's dream,
Yep.
but also you've got the option of heading out to the gravel at the weekend.
You do, yes. At 10.6 kilos, it's no lightweight, although it is in the same sort of ballpark as many other alloy framed bikes. Well, around this sort of money anyway. A fair chunk of the weight is going to come from the Vision wheels and tyres, so occasionally it can feel a little sluggish on the climbs, but once you're rolling, things are pretty good.
And we do love the geometry as well.
Yeah,
We love the group set.
we do.
And we love the versatility.
We do.
So all round, it's a
Very
good bike.
Yeah. Our final product before we get to some seasonal buying advice is the RESTRAP Race Frame Bag.
Yes, this well-made and well-designed frame bag really should last a long time. It features a bomb-proof attachment with no movement at all. It's not overly bulgy when stuffed too full, and it looks really smart too.
So this is the latest iteration of RESTRAP's race frame bag that Mike, you know Mike?
Oh, our Mike.
He reviewed it a few years ago. Where it used to be one size only, he reviewed the small. There is now a large size, and this has the capacity of 4.2 litres.
That's pretty hefty.
It also weighs 236 grams. I have to say that I would find it quite annoying if my knees were brushing against something for every pedal stroke.
Definitely.
So it is nice to find something that balances the capacity with width.
Well, size-wide, this probably is a bit overkill for most one-day rides.
Yeah.
But ideal for longer trips.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this pocket will swallow basically anything. Battery pack, spare tube, waterproof, arm and knee warmers, tent pegs, tent poles. What else do you need?
Got everything. Passport?
And then down the side of your divider, you can put your passport, your credit cards, your cables, whatever else.
What about the kitchen sink? Maybe.
That'll fit.
Who knows? We just really like basically how securely everything is held. But what if you're taking your whole bike on holiday?
Ooh, well.
You're going to need some sort of bike box or bag, aren't you?
That brings us on to our buyer's guide.
Yes. So this month we are looking at those bike boxes and bike bags that you commonly see at airports. I think we'll start with bags because they are generally the easiest to store and the cheapest way to go, aren't they?
What are the cons?
Impact protection. This is the, like, you see the horror stories, and yeah, sometimes something sharp can go through them, or something like a big old knock can do for your shifters, which generally point in.
Well, if it's just your shifters, then that's all right.
That's okay. If it's your frame at the start of holiday, not so good.
Not ideal. So
they are also the lightest, so you can pack them up and take more advantage of your weight limits on your baggage.
They can be quite tight, can't they?
Yes,
those
absolutely.
limits.
Some good examples are the Merlin Elite Travel Case. We really like that. That's one of the most cost-effective options. Sycon do a ton of options with bags. Douche bags is a really interesting design. I know, I'm not calling you a douche bag. They have this bike bag that has a metal frame.
So it's sort of half in between a box and a bag.
It offers, I thought, a lot more protection. I felt a lot safer. My review is on the site. And then there's Evoc, which I know you
do like the Evoc ones, just because you look really cool wandering around an airport with one of them.
Should we move on to boxes now? Because these are the most secure, and I would also say the hardest for baggage handlers to actually throw.
Yes, the downside is that you've got to store it at home.
You do, and they are quite bulky, and they are a bit heavier most times, so you can pack less in them.
That's worth looking at when you're buying a bike box. Look at how much it weighs.
Yeah, because it can get quite close to the limit with just your bike in. Examples are the Bonza bike box. We really like that. That's a relatively inexpensive bike box. Issue is that it's usually sold out. Slight issue there, but if we were going to buy one, I think both of us would go for the bike box Allen Triathlon Aero Easy Fit. But it's not just for triathlon.
No, it's a bit of a monster, isn't it? It's huge, and it's not cheap either.
Yeah,
but it works really well, especially if you've got an integrated cockpit, because it's got a huge bit like that.
At the bottom,
Yeah.
where your bars go. And it just means that you don't have to turn your bars, you don't have to take the bars off, you don't have to undo the stem or anything. Your bike just goes in, you take the pedals off, you take the wheels off, and it is ridiculously spacious inside for other things. Like I was taking pumps and toolkits and helmet, clothing, just everything apart from my shoes and my Garmin.
Yeah, I just take a backpack and that.
It was absolutely brilliant. The one problem is that if you've got a small car like a Clio, as I found out, you have to persuade the box into the boot.
Strap it to the roof.
Pretty much, yeah. But that is quite expensive.
Yes.
Possibly one of the
how can we
most
save some money?
You can rent these bike boxes. You can rent them online from places like Bike Box Allen, or you can go to your local shop. And I really like that way of doing things because you support a local business. They're generally quite cheap if you're only going on holiday once every 1 or 2 years. But also, if you're really not that confident with taking your bike apart and packing it, or you don't have time, you drop the bike. As long as you've pre-booked it with the store, you can drop the bike down at the store and they'll pack it up for you.
Yeah.
And they've got a lot of experience, so it's not going to take them long.
So as a summary, buying advice.
If you want one to keep, but you haven't got a lot of storage, the bag. If you've got the storage, get a box, although it is pricey. And then if
you're not going very often,
just
rent one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fair enough.
Right then, last one before we get to our product of the month. The DALLINGRIDGE MALVERN is a trekking e-bike that provides sound performance and good value for money.
Our tester rode the Malvern over some pretty hilly countryside and the motor system performed very well. The 12 magnet sensor, meaning the power came in and cut out reasonably quickly for a cadence system like this. And it breezed up basically all the hills, including a 20% one that you found. Anyway, it's probably fine for your regular commute. And that was with 12 kilograms of gardening tools on the back.
Why, when you say gardening tools, do I get flashbacks to Hot Fuzz as a movie?
Ooh, nasty way to go.
She tripped on a fellow on her own shears. That's brilliant. Back to the bike. The 6 Shimano derailleur gears worked faultlessly and the unbranded cable-operated discs worked pretty effective. The Suntour front suspension worked fine for a cheap steel-sprung fork and helped to cushion out less severe humps and bumps.
So, all in, it's a pretty good deal and a very
absolutely
capable bike.
Right then, Jamie, I'm going to hand it over to you for this one because this is our product of the month, and it is...
I don't know what it is. What is it?
It's the Lauf Segler that you tested.
Oh, I'm well happy about that. It is a really good bike.
Yeah.
I went to Iceland to ride it.
Yeah? What did you... I don't want to know what you thought of Iceland, but what did you think of the bike? Cold.
Not the bike. The bike was lovely. It's really good value. We'll get back to that in a minute. But the most noticeable thing is obviously the leaf-sprung fork.
Yes, quite, eye-catching.
Yes.
That is.
I've used these in the past on mountain bikes and not been overly impressed with them, if I'm honest. But on gravel, it's really good.
Yeah.
It doesn't add much weight, and the high frequency that you get on gravel, it really helps to reduce your fatigue and your arms, wrists, and whatever else.
Everyone will know what you mean when you go...
That's better than any words.
Yes. In terms of tyre clearance, they've gone really big on this.
Huge,
Have they done something to the chainstay?
So you can now fit 57mm tyres, and that's on 700C wheels. It's not cheating like some of the other brands do on 650B wheels. Got to be careful with those claims.
Yeah.
But yes, the drive side chainstay is a solid plate of carbon.
Okay, so you're not going to be able to run a cable down there, are you?
No, absolutely. So all the bikes, other than the frame set obviously, come spec'd with SRAM AXS gears, so it's wireless, so you don't need to put your wire through there.
I did like that you said that on the press strip they were saying to you, you could just drill it.
Well,
you were thinking, no.
That's not normally what bike brands say.
No. Maybe one to leave for them to do.
But yeah, excellent bike. And so the cheapest version cost £2,890.
That's not too bad.
Which is really quite reasonable. That's with Rival AXS.
That's good.
And then even the top of the range
red AXS version is under 6K.
That's genuinely very good. I'm going to let you into a secret. The real reason that he likes it is because it's pink and shiny.
Yes.
Yeah, we do like the colours that Lauf is providing with this bike.
Anyway, if you want to see more of it, then you can check out Dave's video for off-road CC, or we pitted it against a 3T Explorer, didn't we?
Yeah, I had a very fancy bike that day. And
A much more expensive bike.
a much more expensive bike. We did have lots of fun filming that one. They'll be popping up on your screen now. All that's left to say is thank you very much for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.